So once your stage is set up, you want to adjust it to the height of your average puppeteer. If you're taller than the average puppeteer, you're going to want to duck your head a little bit. Normally what I'll do is I'll get down like here. Other puppeteers will be up on their knees. So I'll try and stay further down, and then I'll tend to tilt my head so the kids out in front of the stage don't see the top of my head. If you're a smaller puppeteer, there's a little more of a challenge. We have knee pads that will actually give you some height. Also, you could kneel on, something to get you a little taller if you need to be taller. Important thing is once your stage is set up, you don't want to stand up. You want to stay below the stage line, just so the kids you don't look like a human puppet to the kids that are out in front. Now that the stage is set up, in the morning usually you'll get together with the team and discuss what songs you're doing, assign parts, figure out which puppets are doing what. It's important that you know the material because some songs have boy solo, girl solo, so you have to know which puppets you're using for each song. Usually what I'll do is once the stage is set up, I pull them out of their pillowcases, lay them down in front in the order that they're going to be, and then I'll just take the pillowcase or something to cover them up just in case the kids look over, plus it keeps any dirt off of them. Okay, we're going to talk about the care of the puppets. Puppets should be in a pillowcase to protect them from dirt. Just pull them out. That's a puppet. They run about like $150 to $200 a piece, so you want to be careful with them and make sure that you keep them clean best you can. But you'll notice on their arms there'll be a little Velcro to attach rods. The rods are attached like so. Just kind of make a T. Their arms. I can do a little close up here. So a rod's attached like this. Don't feel like you have to use a rod unless you really want to. Some of the puppet songs that we do include like hugging, the puppets hug or yell or wave. So you can attach them or only attach one arm, one rod. So normally I let the rods hang if I'm not using them because a lot of times with the rods, if you're holding them always, the puppet may be in a weird posture. But normally I just let them hang and just kind of grab them as I need them. Also, you want to be careful of the puppeteer next to you that you don't poke them with a rod. So, usually try and keep them under control. Don't feel like you have to use them all the time. You can always let them hang. So here's the rods just hanging straight down, which is fine during a song. If you want to just do one rod at a time, it would look something like this. Or if the rod, you can also put your arms up, but that looks more natural than always holding the rods and having your arms out one way or the other. An entrance will start like this. You just have your puppet and you just bounce him, and it's like he's walking up some stairs. So here's a walk up, an entrance with a puppet. So you start your bouncing back here. And when it's time to come down, you turn your puppet around and do the same thing back. To do an exit, you turn the puppet all the way around, and then you bounce down like this. So you always want to remember the imaginary stairs because it looks kind of hokey if the puppet's like going up and down like on an elevator. But the correct, that's the correct way to do it. Turn around. Walk down like that. Another thing that you want to concentrate on is making sure his mouth's closed when he's not talking and that he's looking down, because a lot of the kids are going to be on the ground. So you want to make sure your puppet has eye contact with them. So normally, as I'm doing puppets, I'll look up occasionally just to make sure he has good eye contact with the kids and make sure that his mouth is closed when he's not talking. But you want to make sure that you're looking down at the kids and that your puppet is in a good proportion, that you're not too tall or too short. Because if you're too tall, you see the arm. If you're too short, it just looks like a little head. You want to always look at the position of your puppet to make sure that he's positioned correctly on the top of the stage. Lip sync is another important thing. If you notice, he's talking as I'm talking. A bad technique is called biting your words. Here's an example of biting words where the lip sync isn't in sync with the programming. Another important technique is you always want to just move your thumb. If you're moving the top of your hand, they call that flipping the lid. So your puppet would be like moving his head back like this, but it's more natural if you just move the thumb. I'll show you an example. So in this, okay, I'm just moving my thumb. Let's see if I can do it the wrong way. I guess it's the wrong way. But you just want to move your thumb. It looks more natural. So when you're done with your puppet, you want to remove the rods. It's important that you do that because if you leave them on, it could poke into another puppet and damage them. So you just want to remove the Velcro. What I do is I just fold their arms and then put them back in the pillowcase. And when the puppets aren't being used, you want to keep them in the suitcase. There'll be a suitcase full of puppets on the boat. You want to, when you bring the puppets out, you always keep them in the suitcase. You pull them out when you're using them. When you're done using them, put them back in the suitcase.